Hi, my name is Leah, and I am from Lebanon.
My name is Alex, and I am from Texas, specifically San Antonio.
Specifically Wadi Shahrura Raya, if you know
Let's try to say that again.
it. You say it.
Wadi Sharur El Alia.
I love the way he speaks English.
I know because I mess it up every time.
I mean Arabic, okay.
All right, so why are we starting this YouTube channel?
I don't know, you encouraged me to start.
Yeah, because I think that we have some interesting perspectives and things that we can share. Why don't we talk a little bit about how we first met?
How do you think we first met? Okay, yes, go ahead. All right, I'm gonna start because it's my story. How we met. So yeah, I'm from Lebanon. I had my own clinic. I'm a physical therapist specialized in the pelvic floor muscles. So the muscles around the vagina and the rectum. That's my specialty. I work with kids, moms, women, and men. And I came to the United States in 2015 to specialize in this specific area. And then I had to go back to Lebanon after almost 6 months and then going back and forth. I had to go back to Lebanon and open my first clinic. I was happy. I was helping a lot of people there. I was the only one specialized in this area. And then I decided to come for a conference in San Antonio. I love to travel, but I don't like traveling to the same place twice. So I've been to Texas, I've been to San Antonio, I was doing my internship at Texas Hospital as well in Houston, and I've been to Dallas, but I've never been to Austin though. So anyway, at first I was reluctant. Should I go? Yes, no, and then I did. I booked a flight for 3 days. So the conference is only for 3 days. I booked the flight for 3 days and a half. I was supposed to travel Sunday morning to Lebanon. And 2 days before I traveled, my sister Celine, she literally came to me and she was like, Leah, you're traveling half around the world and you're paying a lot of money and you're gonna be on a plane for 22 hours. Are you seriously gonna go for 3 days and a half? Like, at least extend it for 6 more days. I'm like, Texas is boring. I've been there. I don't like it. I've been to San Antonio. I mean, if it wasn't for the conference and all of my friends are there and I'm the only international student, I wouldn't have gone. She said, Leah, extend it. I said, fine. And I did. That's the first time I just changed a ticket and I pay money to change the flight. But that was the best investment ever because Sunday morning I was supposed to travel to Lebanon, but I changed my flight, right? Sunday night I met Alex randomly out of the blue. How did we meet? We
The
met.
good old-fashioned way. We met at a bar.
It's a restaurant / a bar.
Yeah. It's a restaurant that serves alcohol and they don't serve a lot of food, so it's kind of a bar.
Well, both.
Yeah.
Anyway, because I was with my friend Melissa. Actually, I barely knew her. Like, I met her the day of the conference, and maybe she was the only friend there. And on Sunday, after I wrote a blog, they asked me to write another blog and talk about. So I wrote the first one because I was the only international student with the American Physical Therapy Association coming from the Middle East to specialize in this topic. So I flew all the way here and did all of my internship in the United States. I wanted to get the best education before I go back to my country, although I got a job opportunity in Baton Rouge Hospital when I was doing my internship. But I said, no, this doesn't exist in the Middle East. I want to go back and help people there. But anyway, I wrote the first blog and they published it on their website. And then when I was at the conference, they asked me to write another one and talk about what are my goals for this year in Lebanon and what am I gonna do. So that day on Sunday, in fact, I wrote the blog post and I talked about how I want to work with the United Nations and how I want to just help more women and more children that suffer from incontinence, sexual pain, and all of that. But then I never published it because I finished the blog, I sent it out for edit and I even showed it to my sister, the one that told me to change my flight. And then she was like, Leah, you seem tired, just go home and rest. And I thought, like, what? I mean, I just paid money to change my flight to go home and rest. It's 5 p.m. I went to see Melissa as my friend and she was available. And then we went out for dinner. And while we were walking in, where were we? In Blue Box at the Pearl in San Antonio. While I was walking in fact, I was telling her, like, look, I'm just wearing my sneakers and I look like a tourist. She said, that's what makes you special. Because everybody was like wearing all of the nice things and heels in there. And while walking in, I saw Alex sitting with his friends, and I thought he was cute. And then I walked and I just sat at a table with my friend. 5 minutes later, I see Alex walking towards me. I'm like, is that the cute guy that I saw while walking in? And he walked towards me and he was like, hey, you don't look like you're from here. Where are you from?
I don't know if that was the first line.
Well, yeah,
but
that was it.
It came shortly thereafter.
And the best part is that Melissa knew Corey, his friend. We shouldn't say names, right? Well,
nobody will link it together.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah. She knew his friends, so they knew each other, and they started
got to
talking.
leave us alone when we got to talk, and they got to go do their own
And
thing.
anyway, I got to meet Alex, and we spent time in Austin as well, because I've never been to Austin, and he used to live there. But he happened to visit his parents, and I happened to be there. And that day, when I was supposed to be in Lebanon, in fact, I was supposed to be on a flight, I met Alex Sunday night, and it was meant for me to change the flight and just be there. And that blog post that I created, I never published it because...
Why wouldn't you publish it anyway?
I felt it. No, I didn't.
Because it was about going back to Lebanon.
It was about what I'm gonna do in Lebanon, and I don't like to not follow through, you know.
Right.
And I felt it.
So you knew that. So you knew that something was going to happen with this guy,
Yeah,
and you.
it felt right.
Yeah.
It felt right. Like, I know there's a lot of coincidence, but that wasn't a coincidence for us to meet.
Yeah, there are no coincidences.
Right?
No. So do we hear my version?
Yeah.
No, so I was out. I was very single, but not really looking for anybody. I was just working really hard on my business, which was like an all-encompassing thing. I didn't really have time for anything else. And I ended up going out with a couple buddies of mine from high school and college, and it was one of those things where we just kind of met up around lunchtime, and we're going to get a drink, and it turns into one of these, we're hopping around San Antonio, and we're catching up with each other. And it was a great time with these guys that I just hadn't seen in a long time. And so that was a lot of fun. And we ended up going to a place that these guys don't really go to. I thought it was pretty cool.
It is a cool place,
and
they have good food, they have good drinks.
We're there for about an hour, and I see Leia walk through the door, and she had like this bounce to her step. She had like this effervescence and this energy, and I was really captivated by like her eyes. Like those eyes are different. I can't place, what her background is. And so, shortly thereafter, I said, I have to go talk to her. I just have to. She's too pretty not to. And so I leave my buddies and, go talk to her. And it was just like an immediate connection, which doesn't happen a lot in life. It was an immediate connection. We really hit it off. And without going into all the other details, we ended up spending a few days together and had a great adventures and, meeting some of my friends. It was like she just immediately came into my life, and it just fit and it made perfect sense. And I remember dropping her off at the airport Thursday. We'd have been, together for about 3.5 days. And I just thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to meet somebody like that again. But I don't know where this is going to go either, because Lebanon is not a off-traveled place from people in America. And this was in early 2017, where ISIS was still doing a lot of damage in like Syria. And, I don't really know that much about the area. And so I did a lot of research, watched a lot of YouTube videos, read different articles from people that had been to Lebanon. And she would FaceTime with me every single day. We would be talking, and she'd be walking around Beirut by her clinic. She'd be with her family, like making a meal. And I got to know them. I would talk to them. And so I'm kind of getting to know her family and getting primed, before I even went over there. And at the time we were talking about maybe meeting in Europe, but that was going to be difficult for you for visa reasons. And after a couple of weeks, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go to Lebanon. I feel good enough about this to where I can do it. And so my business was kind of in a place of stasis to where I had the ability to do something like that. And that's a cool thing, because there's no way that either one of us, if you had worked a 9 to 5, you wouldn't have been there for that conference.
Correct.
And if I had been working
we're both entrepreneurs.
if I had been working a traditional job, there's no way I could have taken off a couple of weeks because I met some girl at a bar and had a really good time. And so I ended up going over there and just immediately.
What did your father tell you?
He said, I remember, because my dad knows me well, and I'm kind of the guy that's always going against the grain and doing what he's not supposed to do. And I remember he was just looking at me when he said, hey, you're not thinking about going to Lebanon, are you? And I said, well, I don't know, maybe. He said, well, they're going to cut your bleeping head off. And I said, well, I just hope they use the sharpest blade they can find. And
Girl, if that's not the man that
yeah. Because I mean, this was like back in the time when like ISIS is lining people up and doing awful things.
But not in Lebanon.
But not in Lebanon, which I mean,
Your dad, you know, he watched a lot of
well, he's like a lot of people.
movies.
He's like a lot of people, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, he does care about his son,
Yeah,
and
of course,
he is worried,
of
and
course.
so you know that's fine. But I ended up going over there about 4 weeks later, and I just fell in love with her family, and we had an amazing time. I fell in love with Lebanon too. We'll talk more about that in another video because Lebanon's an amazing country, one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited. And you know, I've got was raised in the Christian church, as was she, and I got to really experience Christianity in the Middle East and in Lebanon and meet amazing people, and not just Christians too, also a lot of great Muslims. I mean, everybody is friends with everybody, which is not something that I think a lot of people think about Lebanon. I think of it as a place where everybody's fighting all the time and it's a civil war. But the truth is the people of Lebanon, by and large, really do get along with each other. And they have amazing energy, very entrepreneurial, very gracious, and they'll give you the shirt off their back. They will do anything for you. And it was just a wonderful place. And I ended up, you know, I knew then after going to Lebanon that like this was the person that I wanted to be with. And there's a lot more we can get into from there. But that's kind of the origin story. And kind of fast forward, you know, I knew, you know, she needed to be here. It was going to be impossible for me to build my business being in Lebanon. And she needed to be here. And she ended up, you know, closing her clinic, which was a difficult thing to do. And I told her, I said, let me see this business through. And, you know, I'll support you when the time comes. And so she did. And it was a huge sacrifice because, you know, one thing people don't understand about the Middle East, well, some people do. I don't want to say that. But, you know, there's really a high quality of life there in terms of people living in the moment, a lot of great clubs and bars and restaurants, and people have these really tight-knit groups where they go out together, they support each other. There's multi-generation households where you've got like, you know, the kids, the parents, grandparents all living together, supporting each other. And it's a really healthy environment in that way. And the United States is entirely different. So, you know, even though the income opportunities here are going to be greater over the long run, it was definitely something that was difficult to you. And you were doing well. I mean, to her credit, she was really doing well. She had her own business, had great clients, and it was absolutely a sacrifice. And so, anyway, that's a lot for now. Anything you want to wrap it up? Anything else you want to say?
I mean, we can talk in a different video about, but it was not easy, and so many people were like against, almost like, what, you're really gonna close down your clinic? You just started, you're really helping
they don't know me
here, you're making a lot of money, you know, like it feels right. And when it feels right, just follow your instinct, because you only get chances in life once. Either you grab it and run with it or let it go. But the fear of, you know, I mean, I would rather grab it and run with it than regret the fact that I didn't grab that chance. And I knew that I can be successful anywhere, but I'm not gonna meet somebody like Alex in Lebanon, or just, it was meant to be. I was meant to meet him. I was supposed to be on a flight that day. And we clicked. Relationships shouldn't be hard. They should not be hard.
People fight that though.
Seriously, they shouldn't be hard. It should be easy. Like,
yeah.
No, not one day we were like in a fight, and a huge fight. Of course, we dispute maybe some days, but not a huge fight. You don't go to bed and just, it shouldn't be hard. Yeah. Playing games and playing it hard and all of that, I was never that kind of person. And just follow your gut. You know exactly what you need, and pray for it. Pray for what, I mean, I used to pray for my future husband. I even pray for my kids, you know. That's another story.
All right, so guys, this is our story, our origin story of how Alex and Leah came together. And we have a lot more to share with you. You know, Leah is, you know, passionate about what she does as a pelvic floor physical therapist, as an author, as an entrepreneur. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, consultant, an investor, and we both have a really unique perspective and a lot of different things we can talk about.
Now we're in Miami, Florida.
Which is, I think, the place to be right now during COVID, and even beyond COVID. This is an awesome place. So we're going to share different stories with you about what we do, about our travels, and we're going to be taking the show on the road too. We do like to travel a lot, and so we're going to be documenting that as well. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit like, and stay tuned for more.
Yeah. I bet we will have 0 views. All right.
Bye.